I've noticed a lot of people struggle making the jump to the all Madden difficulty. Um, and this year the matchmaking it does seem to pair people up regardless of overall differential. So I've seen a lot of people complaining about having to play 100 defenses, and and all Madden's always been unforgiving on any platform, but you really can't get away with nearly as much as you can in the other game modes. And I know a lot of people develop bad habits on easier difficulties because you can make passes that you really shouldn't be making on all Madden, and you get to all Madden and you throw it and you're throwing interceptions left and right. You're getting sacked instantly. That defensive line is just brutal this year. So I'm going to try to show you guys how to succeed, with the seasons, the month-long seasons, and with the rewards this year. I think a lot of more people are going to be trying to do better with head-to-head. So hopefully these tips will help you. But the nice thing is that anything that works in all Madden is going to work in the other difficulties as well. It's just that not as much works in all Madden as what works in the other difficulties. So it's not going to be purely dedicated for these other game modes like the tournament mode or league versus league. But these tips should carry over to those game modes and will definitely make you better players overall. So today I wanted to show you the skill moves the best I can. I've got a match lined up here against S. Chris 0324. I believe he has the best team in the game this year. He's pretty much entirely maxed out, 110 defense, 110 offense. His lineup is just absolutely ridiculous, and I've got a good team, but it's nowhere near on the level that his is, and his defense is just insane. I've played him a bunch of times, so I know, and I hate playing against him. But I will show you guys. I mean, he's a 110 defense. I've beat him probably twice as much as he's beat me. And the reason is overall does matter, but it's not a huge determining factor if you guys have smart play calling and can know the setups ahead of time. You're just not going to get a lot of one-play touchdowns and a lot of huge gains against tougher defenses. But we'll jump right in, and I'm going to try to give some commentary on the plays, but mostly what I wanted to talk about is the skill moves today, and so I'll show you those as I have the opportunity to do them. I use them on every drive, and sometimes on every play in that drive, but I should have fair caught that one, but we're going to end up a little farther back than we want to be. So I'm going to start out the drive the same way I start out all my other drives in head-to-head right now, with bunch PA pin deep. I do cover it in my other video, but we'll jump right in, and it looks like we're going to get man coverage. The tight end's going to be open, and we'll cut it up the field here for a first down. No opportunity right there for a juke or spin. Juke or stiff arm. But we'll come in. We'll run strong IPA slide. Another play I really like. We've got counter formation. Doesn't look like it's counter. We're going to dump it off to the fullback who drops the pass. And again, that happens. Drops are a big thing this year. You just kind of have to shake it off. It's frustrating, but it's part of the game this year. So it's just one thing that you're gonna have to live with. Doesn't matter how good the players are. It seems they're just dropping passes. Trips tight end halfback counter. We like to flip it. We've got a counter formation here. Nothing going. The guard, if you saw, didn't engage the cornerback on the second level there, which allowed him to come right through and tackle us for a loss. I am fairly sure that this guy has spread slot flags covered, or countered rather, and so we're not going to go that direction right now. Instead, I'm going to call bunch flanker drive and try to get some of these yards back. 3rd and 14 is a really tough down. Usually you're tempted to try to get it all back right away, but But you know, at the end of the day, it's okay if you just try to get some of the yards back. This is counter formation. It's hard to tell if it's going to be countered or not. Um, we're just going to have to snap it and see. Not countered. And we're going to try to scramble for some yards here. But as you can see, I ran the stiff form there to try to give Newton a little bit more time to get a couple more yards. Not a perfect example because it didn't work as well as it usually does, but you could see I still picked up a couple extra yards. With a 4th and 5, I'm probably going to look to either trips, tight end quick slants, or spread FL drag. We don't have scramble available, and so if we had scramble available, I'd probably look at motion cross. But motion cross is not a great play this year if you don't have scramble available in head-to-head, as the defensive ends are coming off the blocks a lot faster, and you don't really have a lot of time for the routes to develop. So I think I'm going to go ahead and call trips tight end quick slants and see what happens here. We've got a zone setup, so against a higher defense, against the tight end's going to run this little curl route here on this play. So normally the out route is the money route, but that's only against man coverage. So against this curl route, the problem with a high level defense is these linebackers here usually stay at home a lot more. Versus lower defense, you'll see the tight end actually curl up, and this linebacker is just going to shift away from him, and the tight end will be sitting all alone by himself. But notice against the higher defenses, it might be the awareness or the play recognition, but the linebackers are staying at home. So this is going to be a lot tougher pass to make than it normally would be, but hopefully we'll get it off here. So they didn't really stay at home like we thought they would. It was nice. He backed off of him into more of a deep zone. Let us hit that first down. And next we're going to go into trips tight end PA deep attack. I didn't cover this in the other video. I like to run it unflipped. And the main read on this play, really my only read, is the wide receiver 1. You know, he can beat man and zone coverage a lot of time. Sometimes he can get gummed up on this defensive line, and at that point, you might just have to throw it away. So we'll see. No, we hit a zone coverage, and he was able to get past it. So we'll pick up the first down there. Another play, bunch seat cross in. I did run this in the other video. That was a man coverage setup, and I just like to scramble right up the middle. And against man coverage, there's no good passes on that play. Man coverage is probably the worst to run into, especially on all Madden this year, because it's just brutal. There's the defense is playing lights out with man coverage, so there's really no safe throws there. And that's one that I think probably a lot of people struggle with right now from moving a lower difficulty is versus man coverage on a lower difficulty. I would absolutely throw it to the slot receiver on that corner route. And they usually get separation on lower difficulties, but it'll almost immediately be intercepted if you try to throw it on this versus man coverage. So I scramble up for the middle for a few yards, and then we can run another play. Second is short's a lot more manageable. Run bunch, halfback dive, and try to pick this up. And this is a favorable setup, so we're going to come up here. And when running up the middle like that, it is possible to juke. I didn't do it right there, but if you're quick with your thumbs, you can do it. But the main goal on that play was getting through the hole, and then once you get through the hole and get the first down, you can look to make some moves to get some extra yards. But we were tackled pretty quick there. So I'm going to come back to bunch PA pin deep. I believe it's been at least 4 plays since we ran it. Yeah, much more than 4. So once you know the plays that work, there's nothing wrong with repeating them. You do need to have a minimum of 4 plays in between repeating another play Otherwise, it does risk a frequency counter. So just keep that in mind. You want to have at least 4 plays in between anytime you want to repeat one. So it's always easy just to check the film and see where you are with that. So we'll go ahead and run it again. We've got counter formation. We're going to get sacked. And it was just a 14% counter there. We'll go right back into trips tight end halfback counter. Non-counter formation. And again, I hate that defensive setup for that play is really annoying. That guy never gets blocked, and we didn't have an opportunity to run up the middle. So we'll kind of go the same route, third and really long again, bunch flanker drive. And we've got this weird nickel setup that they've added in this year, was not in the game last year, but it does sometimes leave this halfback open. Doesn't look like we're able to get the pass to him. For a 4th and long here, we're in a pretty nasty situation. 4th and 16 is going to be tough. We might have to run motion cross and hopefully get a man coverage, and then that way, which we do have man coverage, if you missed it, on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see the defensive back slightly shift up, which indicates he's man coverage for this play. So he'll run with Mike Evans when he goes in motion, and it should leave some nice room open to scramble if we can get this defensive end to engage with our tackle. Then we should have an open lane to scramble, and 16 yards is about the maximum amount that you can scramble for on this play. Versus a fast defense like his, we might not get it, so we're just going to have to chance it. I don't like throwing it on 4th down with the number of drops this year, so scramble is much safer in terms of guaranteed yards. So we'll have to snap it and see what happens here. So the defensive end cut in, almost like an inside move there. Luckily, we were able to get just enough for it. As you can see, I didn't slide. I had to risk the fumble because we needed that extra yard to get across the first down marker. So we got the first down, which is nice. We'll go back into PA slide here, and we're going to get a dump off to Sanders. I'm going to try to juke backwards, and we didn't get that, but the backwards juke, when you're in that type of situation where you've got a defender running almost over top of you, you don't really have the option to juke left or right. You can juke backwards, and they will over pursue sometimes. With the defense that has high awareness, I've noticed they don't bite as much on the juke, so you may not get to see as many good examples of that. We'll take a look at what plays we have available to us now. So we don't have halfback counter. We do have bunch halfback dive, and on 2nd and short, that's a really excellent option. Even against a low or medium counter, you can still pick up yards. This is going to be a blitz. The 4-3 formation against this is pretty much a blitz, and it's the worst setup, in my opinion, for bunch halfback dive, because the linebackers are going to fill most of the holes. So pretty much you just got to try to hit it. You can try to take it outside to the left here. If you're not playing a super high overall defense, you can probably get away with that. Probably, though, if you try to bunch it out or hit it outside against a higher defense, these defenders are going to shed their block, and you're going to get tackled for a loss. So we only need 1 yard. I'm going to try to take it right up the middle if I can, and see what happens. So we got just enough. Tried to truck through for the first down, but as you can see, there wasn't much going there. So we're getting pretty close to scoring. Once I get into the red zone, I will start looking at non-home run type plays, non-big gain type plays on first down. Usually first down, I do like to look at bigger plays, but within the red zone, I'll start looking at guaranteed yardage type plays. And spread FL drag is one of those that, it's been a great play since last year. if you flip it and you look towards the tight end is the main read here. Pretty much the only read unless you get some sort of this linebacker here sometimes will cover him really tight and he won't have a safe pass, so you can in that instance try to hit the wide receiver one coming across the middle, assuming there's no linebacker underneath, which usually there's not if they're covering the tight end. But for the most part, you're going to see the tight end is usually just open. So as long as he doesn't drop the ball, it's a pretty safe pass, and it's usually good for 10, 15 yards. So he gets some separation there. I'm going to grab the ball, and we'll get in here. So we're inside the 6-yard line now. If you guys saw my other video, fullback flare flipped is pretty much broken right now due to the fact that your fullback's going to run wide open when you call this play. So he just walks in for the touchdown, and we've got our first score against S. Chris and the best defense in the game. So not much you can do when the defense comes through on a counter play like that. It's one of those things with counters. Sometimes they're going to blast right through, and there's absolutely nothing that you can do. And other times you'll get some blocks, and it's easier. I mean, the halfback toss is by far the most reliable play in terms of beating any type of counter. I know there's some people that like to run bunch spacing. I think CHF and some of the guys from KMFO have had a lot of success with that in the past, but I've always just run the toss play. We've got a counter formation again on bunch PA pin deep. We're going to hike it. We've got the deep route available to us. We get a super win. We're not going to be able to run away from his defense though, as they're just too fast, but we got a huge gain there, and that's why we run that play on first down. It's just an amazing play if you get the right coverage. We've got counter formation on this again, but we're just going to dump it off to Sanders and get the first down. So again, we're within the red zone. We'll go right back to spread FL drag. We've got countered formation. If it's countered, it probably will be, because usually you don't get dime set up like this on first down. You can get dime set up for this play on third down or fourth down. Usually third or fourth and long, the defense will hit you with dime, and it's a nuisance because you can't really throw it to the tight end. So usually your only throws the wide receiver one, sometimes the halfback, or the wide receiver two. But in any instance, versus a counter, and this guy with a differential is probably going to be a critical, and we're going to just try to get the pass off to the tight end if we can. If it's a lower medium, you actually can still get the pass off to the tight end, and he should be open after he makes his cut. So let's take a look. We've got a lower medium counter. We're going to hit the tight end, and we're going to get the first down, which also puts us inside the 6. So we'll be able to run fullback flare again for the easy touchdown, and we'll walk it in there. So as you can see, I mean, that play is just ridiculous inside the 6. It doesn't matter how good their defense is. He's going to be wide open every time. I believe that EA will probably try to fix that coverage at some point. They made a lot of changes last year during the season to coverages on plays that were just way too easy, and so at some point I would expect that to get fixed, as it's just a little too easy to score with it. So we'll just have to see if they ever fix it. But same formula. And this is really the key to winning in head-to-head, winning more matches, is that stay consistent. The plays that work, just keep calling them. It can get boring, and you'll come across people that start to counter plays, and you'll be able to call more. And I've got a deep playbook. I know pretty much all the plays in the playbook. But I go with what works and what I have success with. So if you guys are trying to win, stick to what you're doing well with, and you should be fine. But try not to deviate much from the plan, because that's typically when you start throwing interceptions and taking sacks and things like that. We did get sacked there. We didn't have time to get the pass off, but that's okay. We'll go into trips tight end halfback counter. This is a great defensive setup. as stated previously against the other dime formation, when this defensive back was on the left hand side paired up, um, he's now over here guarding this other wide receiver. So you've only got one defensive back to worry about, and that offensive guard, or rather the tackle, usually has no problem engaging him. So you don't have a lot of issues there. But we should have an opportunity to throw in a juke here for you. And we did. Again, they're not biting on the jukes with this higher overall defense, so I may have to make a better video to show you guys some of how I use it. But we'll get through here. We try to juke that defender again. He doesn't bite. There are two different types of juke. There is the full juke that I just did there, where he hops from side to side, and then there's kind of a half juke where your wide receiver, running back, will do almost like a quick little move. He doesn't do a full hop. And that's actually my preferred way to go. And the way you do that is with almost a really fast finger swipe instead of a full swipe. It's almost a little hard to explain. And if you can see what I just did there, was a stiff arm, and that's really what I wanted to show you guys. Was so with the stiff arm, what you're doing is you're swiping up on the skill button to activate that move. You don't want to just hit the skill button because that's gonna spin. If you swipe up while still holding the screen on that skill button, it's gonna activate the stiff arm, and it'll do it. You can do it while you're near a defender. They don't have to be right on you, but they have to be somewhat close to you for your running back or halfback or your wide receiver to do that. But if they're somewhat close to you, and you do that, you're gonna see his arm come out. And this has been this way since last year, but the defense won't actually tackle you while you're stiff arming a lot of the time. So for as long as you hold that stiff arm, and it lets you hold it a good while, if you keep your finger on the screen, a lot of times the defender won't tackle you. They'll just run right next to you, and you can get an extra 5, 10, 15, 20 yards sometimes just with a defender running right next to you with a stiff arm out. So you can easily buy yourself way more time, and it actually works for 2-point conversions as well. Not as often, but you can get that stiff arm off and buy yourself enough time to run up on the 2-point conversion. So we'll see if we can show you again. But yeah, that was a perfect example of the stiff arm. Bought us enough time to cut up the field for the first down and some extra yards. We'll try to maybe show you guys another play here. I ran so far bunch Z crossing. We got sacked on. We have 4 plays between bunch PA pin deep, but let's run PA slide first instead. We haven't run that this drive yet. We're gonna get a chance counter though and get sacked. That's okay. Second down. We have none of our runs available to us, but we do have, I believe, tight end quick slants available. No, we just ran that. That was what we got the big gain on. So we'll run spread FL drag, which is another preferred second down play, and we'll get the blitz from the linebacker, and we get a drop there, and that's been happening on that play for me at least more often than I'd like to see. But there's nothing much you can do about that. So let's go ahead and run motion cross. Again, we're getting the man coverage by the way that these guys shifted here. So we'll try to scramble once more for the first down. We'll get the block from Fitzgerald, and we'll just slide for the first down. So now that we're in the red zone, we've already run quick slants and spread FL drag, but we have bunch flanker drive available. We've got counter formation. Because it's first down and because we're this close to the red zone, I don't want to risk trying to pass it if this is not countered. But So what I'm going to do is just hold up on the joystick, and if it's not countered, you're going to be able to scramble right up the middle, but you got to be ready to hit the slide button so you don't get tackled by this middle linebacker and risk the fumble. So basically just try to scramble up the middle by holding up on the joystick and get some extra yards if it's not countered. And then if it is countered, on this play, if it's lower medium, you can look to wide receiver one or the halfback. If it's critical, we probably get sacked. So it is critical, and we're going to get sacked. So second down, and I think we've got our runs open to us again. So let's see here. So we'll run trips tight end halfback counter, and we've got a good setup again. See if we can't get a juke in here to show you guys what's going on. Defender didn't bite. Juke didn't hurt us, though. We've got first and goal. We're going to go ahead and get the score again with fullback flare. And that's an easy 22, hopefully 24. And we'll see here what we can do. Nothing going with that. So, fortunately, we didn't get that. 22 points against the 110 defense. Hopefully that kind of shows you guys that calling the right plays, you can get around these really tough defenses. I know I've got a 102 offense, so I mean I definitely have good players, and I know that's not the norm. I'll probably try to make some videos on my alternate account, which I think is like an 82 offense or something like that, and maybe try to set up some matches against higher overall defenses with that account and kind of show you guys. But this works, and hopefully it helps you out. I didn't really get to show you the juke as much as I wanted to, so we'll save that for another video. Maybe I'll record some actual plays of it working on, and then kind of just do a compilation. And again, I appreciate all the new subscribers. I will continue to put out content. Again, it mainly going to be for head-to-head and all Madden difficulty for now. May expand into some other areas later. I'm working on some top plays. I know that was a request, so try to get some top plays put together for you guys. That takes a little bit more editing, so it might be a little bit more time before that I can release that, but hopefully I'll be able to get that out for you guys. And appreciate it. You guys have a good day.